Hello and welcome to a very special cover story show. This week we're taking a look at the elections in West Bengal, also taking a look at the battle between Mamata Banerjee and the Prime Minister. I mean, that whole special session, the women's reservation, if it wasn't for West Bengal, then what was it for? What is the kind of campaign the BJP is running? Can Mamata Banerjee hold on to her bastion? She is the tallest leader in the India alliance. Or will this time the BJP manage to make a dent? And by dent, I mean, will they manage to wrest the state? Because coming second really doesn't mean very much. In this show, to join me in this conversation, I have with me Rashid Kidwai. He's an author and a columnist and a senior journalist. And of course, Ashutosh, he's the co-founder of satyahindi.com, an author himself, and someone who's been keeping an eye on what is happening. Both of them are. So, Rashid, just set the ground, for us, the parameters as to what is at stake. We saw how seriously the BJP is taking this election. I don't think anybody here will disagree when I say that whole special session, this whole bogey of women reservation was there. So Narendra Modi could, BJP could make a dent in the women's vote. Do you think that will work?
Yeah. So I think, Priya, you're absolutely right. You see, Bengal elections in particular is a kind of obsession for the BJP, and not without reason. Remember, the Hindu Mahasabha had its formation in Bengal. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee was a towering leader, a founder of Hindu Mahasabha, was from there, and that is one state where the RSS and BJP have not been able to conquer. So therefore, it is a bit of a challenge. And then you made a reference about women quota bill and delimitation exercise. It was a clear case of kahin pe teer, kahin pe nishana. And I think that is where we need to discuss. And as you know, the May 4th will come, we'll get to know what it was exactly all about. The BJP never had, I mean, NDA never had the number. They went through, the motions, and they got for the first time in 12 years, got on an important political legislation. They tasted, so to say, defeat. And there was a lot of, Rona Dhona kind of thing. And of course, it was followed by address to the nation, a very uncharacteristic, unprecedented, and I would say uncalled for. So this whole build-up is as if Nari Shakti is going to give a kind of give it back to Mamata Banerjee, whether they would or not, whether there will be some sort of allegations of tampering with the EVM, all kind of possibilities are there. I think Bengal is the last frontier for the BJP and Mr. Narendra Modi. Mr. Narendra Modi wants to go down in history as someone, where he got the BJP as number one party. You look at Bihar, you look at Maharashtra, a lot of places other than, so to say, the cow belt, the Hindi speaking region. And that is a real challenge. Are they going to do it? I have my own doubts because the Bengal has a very strong streak of sub-nationalism. Just by eating fish and mutton in your plate, like Anurag is showing, it's not going to make a categorical difference, because that means you don't understand Bengal. It's a very clear case. So eating fish is very much part and parcel of their culture. You cannot flaunt it and say that oh, I'm a Bengali enough that I'm having fish and rice. So there are a lot of problems are there. And one last point before Ashutosh comes in, it's a end of the day, it is a linguistic state. So Priya, if you speak in that language, it happens in Gujarat also, it happens in Punjab, it happens in Tamil Nadu and Kerala also. Then only you make a cut. Otherwise, you can have n number of Yogi Adityanaths, but without any dividend.
Fair enough. So, Ashutosh, BJP is really trying hard but to win Bengal. Take a look at the BJP campaign and all that the BJP has done, from SIR to women's reservation to all this, eating meat and fish and trying to say, hum outsider nahi, we are insider. How is it faring for them? You have to unmute yourself.
Priya, to add what Rashid Bhai has said, the first election in 1952 parliament election, which the Jansangh contested, or the RSS contested in a way, they won 3 seats. Out of 3 seats, 2 seats are won from Bengal. One was Shyama Prasad Mukherjee from the Southeast constituency, and another was Durga Charan Banerjee from the Midnapur Jhargram constituency. So, and then the ideological inspiration which they take is like Maharshi Aurobindo, Vivekanand, and Shyama Prasad Mukherjee. All the stalwarts, ideological roots and everything from Bengal. But till now, BJP has not been able to make a government over there. So it's, in a way, it's an Achilles wheel for the BJP in that sense. But the issue here is, and I would have subscribed to what Rashid Bhai has said, but this time I am little edgy for the simple reason because I had never seen any state being captured so much by the BJP itself. It's basically capturing of the entire state And if this time they can't win, then they can never win Bengal in that sense. Look at the kind of the transfer has been made. The chief secretary is changed, the DGP is changed, the commissioner is changed, the home secretary is changed, and then almost 475 officers, senior officers, SCP, DCPs are changed, and one of the DCP's house is raided by the income tax. Bhawanipur, one of the proposer of Mamata Banerjee, has been interrogated. IPAC director has been arrested, and IPAC has discontinued its job with Mamata Banerjee. And now
Are they doing work from home?
2,550 companies of CAPD is employed there, 3 times more than what it had in 2021. That means almost more than 2 lakh jawans are there, and then Bakhtarबंद गाड़ियां सुबह से शाम तक चल रही है वहां पे. Then people are not allowed to drive a pillion on the bike. So have you heard something like this ever? I had never heard something like this. And then the Prime Minister especially calls the Parliament for the women reservation bill, calling women reservation, which is basically a delimitation bill, and then knowing fully well that they will never get 2/3 majority. So what was that? And then the Prime Minister addressing to the nation and talking about the women. So if Prime Minister has gone so much to win Bengal election, then Election Commission is totally in their pocket in that sense. 27 lakhs new the voters by giving a logic of the logical discrepancy, which has never happened. Even the Supreme Court has surprised on this. Then 7 lakh new voter is added, about which, and then the voters are loaded in trains from Surat. Have you heard something like this? I have not heard something like this. Maybe Rashid Bhai can tell me, may enlighten me on this. So if the BJP is not winning, then I will really be surprised.
Do you think, despite all this, the BJP has the edge? Because Rashid, Mamata Banerjee also is no naive. She's also got her tricks up her sleeve. She also has her control on the system. She also plays the same kind of politics that the BJP plays. In fact, BJP is so careful of her; they're not attacking her directly. They're attacking her issues, but not Mamata Banerjee. So in that sense, she is like Narendra Modi. Like we said, don't attack him. He has the goodwill of the people. They are saying don't attack Mamata Banerjee.
Yeah. So I think, Priya, when I was hearing very attentively Ashutosh, who's of course a very astute political observer, I was both, I mean, a little wary as well as a little sort of upset, because Ashutosh seems to have been, taken in by this kind of atmosphere that the BJP has created. But let me tell you, this is something very interesting and very peculiar to Bengal. In Bengal, actually, these things work and they don't work at the same time. So there is a bit of a paradox. So you need to be a very dominant force in Bengal in order to click. You look at the CPM, you look at Mamata Banerjee's own track record, you look at even Siddharth Babu's tenure, which was the Congress Chief Minister Siddharth Shankar Ray. So that kind of intimidation, terror, that kind of dominance, that kind of element of dictatorship, that really works well. And that is where I think Mamata Banerjee, in my political assessment, would live to fight another day, because she is one person who's there. And her nephew, Abhishek, who's actually become I think in this election, he's going to be a real, revelation. If you look at all that sort of second generation, third generation dynasty, Abhishek is someone who's a very, curious mixture of applied side of politics, education, hands-on approach, and yet not getting that kind of, media glare that is given to Rahul Gandhi and Tejasvi and Akhilesh and several others. So, every, I would say, booth is micromanaged by Abhishek Banerjee, not so much Mamata Banerjee. He is handling the entire campaign, talking issues, what to say, what not to say, and he has learned a lot. He's evolved from 2000 last time 2021 election to now. So this is his election more than Mamata Banerjee's election. And I think if you look at in a very serious and dispassionate sense, the BJP is actually fighting only 215 assembly seats. So out of the 294, so out of 215, if you have a best performance, a very good performance, then we are talking about 100, 50% strike rate. In case of 50% strike rate, the BJP doesn't, would not make a cut. BJP is leaning very heavily, and all wrong reasons are that, railing on that Humayun Kabir, Asaduddin Owaisi, Congress, left, and a lot of left supporters have actually become BJP supporters, which is also very unique to Bengal, where you have a, leftist, and next day you become a right-wing supporter. So all these things are done. I think Mamta's, fort is intact, unless of course she makes a very big blunder. And one last thing, Priya, I want to see, the first phase of polling has a lot of districts where there is a 85-90%, so to say, Hindu population. And that is where Mamta's strike rate is again 50% and more, 60-40. Unless that is, reversed, then Mamta will have, some reasons to worry. So Mamta's, support base, unlike Mr. Rahul Gandhi, unlike Tejasvi, unlike Akhilesh, is very good when it comes to the majority community. So if that
Yes.
kind of trust is broken, and if the majority of, so to say, Hindus and Bengali speaking, Bengalis actually ditch Mamata Banerjee and go to the BJP, then of course it will be landslide. I don't see any evidence of that as of now.
But actually, what I understood from Ashutosh is not that Mamta's hold is weakening, but the BJP is trying all kinds of means to win this election. Am I right, Ashutosh? Is that what you meant, or do you feel the hold is weakening, especially over the majority community?
No, see, I just cite one statement which is made by a very seasoned journalist who had just back from Bengal. He said BJP is nowhere on the ground, but I am not. I can't say that the BJP is going to lose. See, it's a very prophetic statement he made. He said, and what he hinted at, that will there be a fair election in Bengal? Will there be a kind of a scientific rigging within court, as used to be said about CPM? They used to win election and they won almost for 35 years in that sense. So I think if the same kind of trick is used here, where the election commission is used, where the security forces are used, where whole voters are being terrorized, then you can Mamata Banerjee can use all tricks. But when the state is fighting elections, then can she still win election? That is my core argument. I'm not saying that Mamata Banerjee is losing support in the people. I'm not saying that the BJP is going to win hands down. I'm only saying this. And then there is another argument which I want to put forth. One is that in Haryana, when the BJP was contesting election in 2014, earlier data was only 6 MLAs are something like below 10 vote percentage. But suddenly they formed a government over there. And then you look at in 2000 last time, when everybody thought that Congress is going to win election, and suddenly you see the BJP winning election. In Tripura, BJP formed the government from nowhere. In UP in 2017, when BJP was in 2014, BJP was the fourth player, but from 15% to suddenly jump to 38.9% vote share, and then forming the government in 2017 with more than 300 seats. That's my argument. And similarly, you see in Odisha, everybody thought that Navin Patnaik is unbeatable. Then suddenly you saw the Navin Patnaik losing ground, the BJP winning all 20 parliamentary seats in 2024. Now, within that context, that's my argument is that whether the Mamata Banerjee will be allowed to win elections. Other than this, look at what Mamata Banerjee has done. Mamata Banerjee is basically raising the issue of a Bengali identity, Bengali Asmita. And BJP has been, Prime Minister has been forced to stop at a stall and eat jhalmuri. And the BJP leaders are eating fish. So if fair election happens, and I'm again saying within quotes, if there is a fair election, then Mamata Banerjee is coming back. But if there is some hanky-panky here and there, then I can't say that the BJP is going to, Mamata Banerjee is winning elections. So within that caveat, if election has been normal, election has been regular, election has been routine, obviously there is no match. Because if you look at 2021 assembly elections, there was a 10% gap between the BJP and TMC. Mamata Banerjee is getting 48% vote share, and the TMC BJP getting some 38%. In 2024 election, which again, because of the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, BJP improved its vote share, and the difference was only 7% between TMC and 7%, the 10%. These are huge numbers. I don't see that the BJP has covered 7% gap in the last 2 years. But then मोदी है तो मुमकिन है.
Modi hai to mumkin hai, but also Rashid, there is, having said that, let's see what is also can work against Mamta. 15 years of anti-incumbency, BJP that is promising, central assistance, central, governance model, whatever. Will that be a factor? The law and order is a big question mark. We've seen the, cases where women's safety is also come up under question mark under Mamta Banerjee.
So, Priya, there is a logical answer to all these questions. After all, if law and order is bad in Bengal, crime against women in particular, then of course, what about Madhya Pradesh? What about Rajasthan? What about Delhi itself? So there are a lot of things that can be countered, but elections are not fought on a pure logic. More so, it's fought on emotion, and that is where I think I have a slight disagreement. While I agree, and I find what Ashutosh is saying is pretty, frightening, because there has to be free and fair election. That's a prerequisite, Ganeshwar Kumar or not, but elections have to be, and there should be semblance of, fairness. If it is, I look at today's Bengal is like, what recently Sunil Gavaskar was saying in a podcast, that they were, when they'd gone to Pakistan to play cricket, he and Krishna Machari, Shrikant, they decided that we will not let any ball touch their pad, because if the ball touches their pad, then Khizr has, finger will go up and it take an LBW. So that kind of thing, Mamata Banerjee is observing that, and I think that is where people underestimate, because we are taken in. I don't want to comment on media, conduct of media, by the BJP's, propaganda. BJP is becoming a big, victim of its own propaganda, because they are highlighting how good they are, or how, sort of, the kind of infrastructure or resources they have in place. Nobody is talking about Mamta's resourcefulness when it comes to ground level, when it comes to
Yeah.
booth level management, when it comes to that kind of election winning machinery. And that is where Priya, I think she has a very kind of committed, dedicated people who would not let, ED reach to her house last time when ED had tried to, go close to her place. So
Hmm.
that kind of, sort of resources she has, if those resources remain intact, I think she's going to be much more than Iran.
Iran has also come into this conversation. I'm going to take a quick break and come back and keep this conversation going. I'm going to ask them. I have a question as a journalist on women's reservations. Do people actually vote because there is a woman leader, or do you vote like any other woman or man? What is this leader doing to us is giving welfare schemes? What credibility the leader has, or will the fact that woman MP hai, all the women will go and vote for that woman leader? I'm going to take a break and come back and ask this question. Hello and welcome back to a cover story conversation on Bengal, but we also drifted into Iran, thanks to Rashid. But to get back to the special session of Parliament, Ashutosh, do you really think that women are it's going to make a difference on ground? That, more women will come, so all the women will vote for that party that is promising more women leaders? Or do you vote for what the leader, maybe more welfare schemes for women, even if it's a man like Devendra Fadnavis or Shivraj Singh Chauhan? You'll vote for him because what they're doing rather than their gender.
See, let's not underestimate that the male voters also. I know the women voters is a new fad. So
A
everybody is
very
trying to
decisive
woo,
fact.
yeah, is trying to woo women voters. But women voters are also thinking voter. They are not just the blind voters that anybody will give them 10,000 or 2,000 or 1,000, or just pass, trying to pretend that they were trying to empower women in the parliament, and how the opposition has opposed it. And then you address to the nation and say that, look, these opposition leaders, the opposition political parties, TMC, DMK, they are anti-women. Women are not going to buy these arguments. And if women empowerment is really an issue, if the Prime Minister keeps that close to his heart, then Prime Minister should not contest elections, should let Mamata Banerjee win elections. Because Mamata Banerjee is a woman chief minister. That is an epitome of woman empowerment in
एक तो
that
ज्यादा
sense.
ही
So
मांग
why,
लिया आशुतोष
yeah,
आपने.
yeah. So why Mamata Banerjee should be replaced by a male chief minister over there? That itself denying that basic rights. And then Mamata Banerjee is one leader who has given almost 40% who's 40% of the MPs are from are the women,
Men.
and very fiery women MPs who are really scaring the BJP within the parliament itself. So to think that women voter is not a thinking voter and they can vote here and there, and just because you can do that argument, I'm not buying. I'm only saying, my only argument is that this election is really a test of India's democracy. Can this election be won and lost just by capturing the state? If Mamata Banerjee loses, then I see no hope for the position in coming any elections. And if Mamata Banerjee wins, that means the people's power is really important. And no prime minister, no political party, no regime can capture them beyond a point. You can fool 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, but you can't fool 140 crore people for eternity. That's my basic argument. Yes, there is a strong anti-incumbency against Mamata Banerjee. There is no doubt about it. But that anti-incumbency has to be against a government as the chief minister if he or she is in power for 15 years. But Bengal also has a history of where the Congress ruled for good almost 25 years, then left ruled for 32 years. Mamata is ruling for another for 15 years. So there is a long stability. That means Bengal doesn't easily go for Porivartan or the change. But will this year be a change? I doubt myself, because if you compare Mamata Banerjee, if there is a Bengali identity, then who fares better than Mamata Banerjee? Subhendu Adhikari or some Ghosh? I'm forgetting his name. Or who? So, in terms of leadership, in terms of organization, in terms of connect with the people, I think there is no match. There is no match between TMC and the BJP. But then my caveat is because today the state is captured in Bengal, and I have my doubts whether there will be a semblance of fair election over there.
Ashutosh doesn't mince words, Rashid. But, having said that, will Mamata Banerjee winning, the women's reservation impact, and if she wins, the impact it will have on the opposition, will she then try and fulfill Jyoti Basu's history, unfinished agenda with history, and maybe try and her chance at the center?
Yeah, I think Priya, my friend Ashutosh, pro-women stance is very clear in the choice of his shirt also. It's evident. He
Yes,
doesn't need
good.
any certificate. See, I think we are all as a nation, we are told and to think in a particular direction, and that is where this whole, I think, the facade of women bill was there, which was linked with delimitation, having no kind of political or logical link with it, and therefore, but Mr. Modi built a very strong case, and I think from what that grapevine has it, we know, Priya, you run a gossip column, and so we are constantly told that this actually had sort of some agenda and some purpose. What Ashutosh is talking about, the health of EVM, I think it will play it out on May 4th. I hope we all are wrong, that there cannot be any kind of char with the EVM, because elections is a very it's a very kind of sacred exercise, and the will of the people must come out. The Mamata Banerjee has been winning more women votes than any a politician in the country, and that is something very commendable. Now, unless there is a what if there is a drastic change in it? I can understand what happened in Maharashtra between Lok Sabha and Assembly. You can say that money was the kind of transactional road that Ladli Behna Yojana played. I am not very convinced, but that's the thing. But in sense of empowerment, the BJP is in power in 16 states, one chief minister, that too in a tiny state where the real powers are not there, in Delhi. BJP has 31 members of parliament, Lok Sabha member of parliament, and number of women in the council of ministers is just 7. Prominent being, of course, the finance minister. So there are a lot of things need to be done. But Mr. Modi and Amit Shah, they are masters of this kind of building atmosphere, as Advani ji had said, very good event managers. And I think Mamata's victory will be a turning point in I would say in Indian contemporary politics. It will set the table for 2029, because she will become first among equals, much ahead of whatever Rahul Gandhi stands for, or even if MK Stalin wins, and other players, Arvind Kejriwal, and everyone fancies as a prime ministerial candidate. Akhilesh Yadav is a very, but I would think she will be more formidable than Akhilesh, because she will be more acceptable to a lot of political parties, and that is where I think 29 will become very interesting. So therefore, I think May 4th it will not only have bearing in Calcutta, in West Bengal, but on the nation also. That will opposition live to fight another day or not? That will be decided by fate of Mamata Banerjee.
So, as you know, her election is decisive in terms of opposition politics, more than even Stalin's win. Mamta's win is decisive. But supposing Ashutosh wins, the impact it will have with the opposition politics. Well, then can she emerge as the face? She tried it earlier, but she didn't succeed.
Priya, I'm glad that Rashid Bhai has mentioned that only seven women are in the central cabinet. And you know what is ironical? In 2021, after 2019 parliament elections, there were 11 women ministers in Modi's cabinet. But once the women reservation bill was passed in 2023, that number was reduced from 11 to 7. That's the irony of it. That's the honesty of the whole purpose. So you look at the pictures. Now, Mamata Banerjee is a national leader, there is no doubt about it. But will Mamata Banerjee want to become an alternative to Mr. Narendra Modi? For that, she has to venture out from the Bengal. It's not that only sitting in Bengal and you have no appeal outside Bengal, then obviously you can't be dictating terms. Mamata Banerjee has to take initiative like N.T. Ramarao used to take initiative, or the Devilal used to take initiative, or Harkishan Singh Surjit used to take initiative when Rajiv Gandhi was the prime minister, the invincible prime minister, and invincibility was broken like anything, and he lost a parliament election to 1989. But then Harkishan Singh Surjit, Devilal, and N.T. Ramarao, all three had a national vision, has a national perspective. Mamata Banerjee has to get out of this Bengal. Bhadralok, that's not a bad thing in that sense. It's a good thing, very good thing in that sense. But that sectarianism, what I'm referring to, sectarianism, the regionalism. So if she wants to play a national role, then she is 71 years old now. She has to pass the baton to somebody else in Bengal if she wins. And then she decides that I have to defeat Narendra Modi, come what may, and I will be the pivot around whom the whole opposition unity will revolve. I'm very sure if she wins election in 2026, if she decides to be the pivot, then I have no doubt in my mind that she is the one leader who can give a real tucker to Narendra Modi, and Narendra Modi, whose popularity is on decline. And look at the irony, the Pakistan being a Dalal state is the global mediator, and we, the Vishwaguru, has left with no chela and nobody is moving around us.
We're getting an international connotation to the Bengal election. Rashid, you wanted to come in quickly?
Yeah.
And also, should she then become the coordinator of the India bloc? Would that be a first step, Rashid?
Yeah, so I think, Priya, we are looking at, for that kind of thing, that what will happen and how this will become other than up to 29. But just one more thing we were talking about earlier about Iran, and Ashutosh also brought in. See, what has happened in this so far, this war, is that Iran was one country, isolated international community, and among, so to say, among Muslims also, it was seen as a more of a Shia state. What has happened in last 55 days is that Iran has emerged as a court, not only imagination of Sunni Muslims and the Muslims across the globe, but also about a lot of people. I was surprised. I was talking to a right-wing ideologue, and he said that we in the BJP also feel we cannot take as a formal position, but we think that, what Iran is doing or saying has a point. So therefore, Mamata will emerge. That's why I'm saying that Mamata will be much more than Iran. That there will be greater interest in her. How things, shape up, how it's a build-up for 29, we'll live to see that. But the fact that she will be in that position where she will be able to, like, the superpower in this context, not only Narendra Modi, but, the Congress, Rahul Gandhi, she'll be able to dictate some terms for her own thing that, how and why I should arrive at the national scene.
Okay.
Priya, just
Ashutosh,
one line about this Iran and the war thing. See, Iran could face the might of Israel and America both, because Iran has a strategy right. So if Mamata Banerjee has a strategy right, then he can face and defeat the might of BJP and the whole paraphernalia.
Okay. So now we have to see not only who is Iran, but also who is US, and more important, who is Israel, the one who's pulling all the strings in this situation. But thank you both for a very geopolitical conversation on the state of Bengal. Thank you.
Thank you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.